And good evening, hello, welcome to, I guess it's not actually hump day, is it? It's Tuesday. Did I put hump day out this morning in the weather blog? I think I might have. I'm sorry, I've been, like a lot of people, I've been dealing with whatever's been going around, and, well, I feel like crud, so when I wrote the blog this morning, it may have said today was Wednesday. Oops. Anyway, hi, good evening, I'm David Reimer. It is February 19th, Tuesday, about 8:15 p.m. For most of us across the state, it's been a pretty cold day, dreary with some showers, even a couple thunderstorms with some small hail, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But in summary, we're not expecting much more in the way of winter weather or strong thunderstorms tonight, with the exception of what we have going on now. So let's go ahead and pop on over to the live radar, which that wasn't. Here we go. You can see radar loop over the last several hours. You can see temperatures are pretty chilly for winter standards in Texas, with temperatures this afternoon not really climbing very much. If nothing else, they've fallen this afternoon and evening, with lots of 20s and 30s all the way into the 40s across south central into southeast Texas. If by chance you're wanting warmer temperatures, head on down to the Rio Grande Valley. They're in the 50s this evening, but worry not, spring lovers. Spring temperatures are not far away. You can see the winter weather side of this system across Oklahoma, exiting the state of Oklahoma, moving up through Kansas and Missouri. They're having a pretty good winter storm up there tonight. All this blue is snow, purple is sleet and freezing rain, moving towards St. Louis. Oh, joy. And then down here in Texas, you can see we're dealing with a couple strong thunderstorms now around the Mount Pleasant area. Let me go ahead and stop that. I will put on a higher resolution radar feed. One moment, please, while your host plays with buttons. You can see these storms are lit up like a Christmas tree. Literally, they're shooting lightning off like there's no tomorrow. Okie dokie. Even have a little hail marker right there, so you can see a thunderstorm near Pittsburgh. Radar's indicating the possibility of some dime-size hail, probably a lot of pea to dime-size hail. These storms this afternoon and evening have a history of producing a lot of small hail. It is booking it northeast at about 52 miles an hour, so it looks like it'll be near Naples around 8:41 p.m. and then New Boston around 9:05 p.m., passing between DeKalb and west of Texarkana. Even with surface temperatures in the 30s, we have a bit of elevated instability located above a cap this evening, so that's why we're getting some of these stronger thunderstorms with copious amounts of lightning and lots of small hail. These aren't producing big hail, but they are producing a lot of small hail. In fact, in some spots it may look like it snowed based off the amount of small hail they produce. So again, this storm that's now east of Pittsburgh, southeast of Mount Pleasant, is moving northeast towards Naples. It'll cross Interstate 30 between Texarkana and Mount Pleasant near New Boston to Hooks near DeKalb. So after that, it'll move into Arkansas. Have another strong storm passing just northwest of Longview. This storm's also booking it northeast at about 50 to 60 to perhaps even 65 miles an hour. Again, capable of producing a lot of small hail, but we're not expecting these storms to produce hail that could damage a lot of things, but it could produce enough hail to make it look like it snowed. So that's about the extent of the thunderstorm activity we have left in the state of Texas this evening. You can see we have some weaker showers to the south across the piney woods of East Texas towards Nacogdoches and center Lufkin area, but those are not even producing lightning at this point. So over the next several hours, we'll have to wait and, or I shouldn't say we'll have to wait and see, but over the next several hours, we'll see this activity continue flying northeast in a hurry. And then eventually across the entire eastern half of Texas, we'll see precipitation come to an end from west to east overnight into the Thursday into the morning hours on Wednesday. But back and back out, you can see temperatures cool but not overly bad. So what I want to do, let's pop out. We're going to turn off that. Let me go ahead and kill all these icons. You can see across the country this evening a winter storm gearing up. This storm system you actually see around Corpus Christi, that is going to move northeast across the southeast United States and book it up towards the mid-Atlantic tomorrow. All this rain and snow you see is going to make for unpleasant travel conditions across the Midwest and northeastern United States on Wednesday, with a lot of snow, freezing rain, sleet, wind. Your typical nor'easter. So most folks don't realize that the nor'easters that the Atlantic seaboard can experience, or usually does experience in the winter months, usually get started down in the Gulf of Mexico as areas of low pressure spin up and then make it up into the Atlantic and, well, bring all this rain, snow, wind, pretty much a travel nightmare of doom for anyone heading up in the Midwest and Northeast. So luckily for us in Texas, or unluckily, depending on your viewpoint, we didn't get too much in the way of winter mischief today, with the exception of some light snow accumulations across the Texas Panhandle. So what I'm going to do is I want to switch gears really quickly. I'm going to turn all that off except for the lightning because it doesn't disappear easily. I want to take a look at any sort of visibility reduction. This means is I'm going to pop in some buttons. Yeah, you see these equal signs? That is a indicator of fog across portions of the Texas Panhandle. You see we actually have some dense fog located across the northeastern Panhandle and to the Big Country. This is all indicative of fog and mist. And the issue with that is, where all that is ongoing, if temperatures are below freezing, that's freezing fog and freezing drizzle, which can create problems on bridges and even some roadways if temperatures are in the 20s. So there is the potential for some icy road conditions overnight in the Texas Panhandle and northwest Texas, but generally speaking it'll be across the Texas Panhandle eastward into Oklahoma, where the freezing drizzle will be a problem overnight with road conditions. But otherwise, as I said previously, we're going to see the rain activity exit the state to the east by morning. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back on my head high. Guess what? I have a bald spot. It's very shiny, but I really have no lights on in here except dim light because, well, I don't feel real good. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to pull up weather model data. And that means, well, first off, it'd be good if it loaded. I'm going to switch us over. So I have to set it up real quick because I didn't think it would be a good idea to set it up in advance because that would actually be smart. So what I'm gonna do is press some buttons. Nope. I'm gonna set this up and I'm gonna switch y'all over. I'm gonna make sure my webcam is on it. Sorry, as you can tell, this isn't really a broadcast quality discussion. This is more of a casual, hi, I'm sitting here, I have nothing better to do right now, so let's just chat about weather. Alright, I got that set up. I just have to push live, and voila, it's me and a monitor. Alright, this is actually raw weather model data. And I just wanted to talk about our next weather maker, which is going to be Friday into Saturday, although some folks are going to see rain on Thursday. This is the American short to long range model called the Global Forecast System, but what I'm going to actually do is, I can't do it on here very easily, so let's just stick with the GFS and that'll suffice for most of the data. You can see by tomorrow afternoon, let me make sure that preloads. You see tomorrow afternoon, actually, temperatures, this is about 3 p.m. on Wednesday Central Time. You can see temperatures actually warm up a good bit across most of the state. We're going to see 60s. I wouldn't bet on too many 70s, but at least 60s across the southeastern half of the state, with 50s making it all the way up to Lubbock, to Childress, etc. The cool air is going to be a little harder to mix out across the Panhandle, where we'll see high temperatures in the 40s, but compared to today, where it was barely out of the 20s, we'll take it. So then as we get into Thursday, temperatures are going to be a bit cooler across the eastern half of Texas thanks to increased rain chances and some cold air damming coming out of Arkansas. Yes, cold air damming does exist. That's the process of which we see some cooler air kind of filter in and make it hard for the warmer air to infect, or cooler air filter in from higher elevations in Arkansas, and then that kind of helps keep temperatures out that way cooler. So what I want to look at now is precipitation. Oh, do. You know it's okay. There we go. Don't you love these raw and vivid discussions? See, I'm not perfect. I just like having weather conversations. You can see the GFS model has rain increasing by Thursday morning. This is about 9 a.m. on Thursday, so some showers across southeast Texas, advecting north into east Texas. You can see we can get a little heavier around lunchtime, but for the most part, it looks like there will be scattered to perhaps numerous showers on Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon across East Texas, Northeast Texas, and Southeast Texas, with the highest coverage across Southeast Texas. So that gets us into Friday. And here's Friday. You can see it looks like we'll probably have some scattered let's use correct words, some isolated showers, probably some fog and drizzle by Friday morning across possibly the eastern two-thirds of Texas, and then as the day goes on, we see some scattered showers, especially across North Texas, East Texas, and Northeast Texas, becoming possibly a bit more numerous by Friday evening, and then overnight Friday into the morning hours on Saturday is when we could have some interesting spring-like behavior develop. Oh, let me see. Just wanted to press this. This is actually convective available to potential energy. This is instability in the atmosphere. Now keep in mind, what I'm showing you right now is just raw weather model guidance. I don't want you to take it as a literal forecast, but you can see we actually do have some instability in place Friday night into Saturday morning as a strong area of low pressure begins to take shape across the southern United States. And what I'm going to set up real quick while I'm thinking about it is I'm going to set up the severe weather outlook for Saturday. Yes, there is a severe weather outlook, believe it or not. So we're going to switch back on over to our weather source. You can see that the Storm Prediction Center has already outlined a large level 2 risk. That's the standard risk level, meaning a 15% chance of severe weather within 25 miles of, say, your house for Saturday. Pretty large area of probabilities, which for 5 days out is pretty impressive. So you can see we do have a risk of severe weather Friday night into Saturday morning across portions of northeast Texas and east Texas, extending all the way through a good chunk of Louisiana, the northwest half of Mississippi, all of Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, southwest Indiana, southern Illinois, and to the southern and southeastern portions of Missouri. Now, this isn't unusual by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'm a little surprised we haven't had more in the way of these setups over the winter based off the kind of El Nino-like behavior we've seen. But we are getting into the latter half of February and towards the official start of the spring 2009 storm chase season, which unofficially begins on the 1st of March, but as Mother Nature has proven so adeptly over the years, it doesn't really matter what month or what day it is. If the ingredients are there for storms, there can be storms in December, there could be storms in May, there could be storms in August. So our next weather maker will be one to keep an eye on, especially across along and east of, say, Interstate 35E to Interstate 45, so essentially Gainesville to Dallas to Houston and points east. We'll have to keep an eye out for the chance of strong thunderstorms Friday night into Saturday morning. We can't rule out some severe storms, but I'm still uncertain if they're going to develop as far west as this outlook depicts, or if the higher chance of severe weather will be across, say, Arkansas and farther northeast into the Mid-South and, quote, Dixie Alley, unquote. So those of you across East Texas, Northeast Texas, keep an eye out for the forecast, since there could be some strong storms Friday night into Saturday morning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually clear off the lightning. I'm going to clear off the severe weather outlook. I'm going to actually load model data using NIST interface and just show you what we're looking at for Friday. This is going to be dew point values. Hold on one moment while I load this data, please. And thank you. This is going to be .6 p.m. on Friday, the 22nd of February. These are dew points. And I know the data's coarse, but you can see, generally speaking, this would be your dry line still pretty far west at 6 p.m. on Friday. Dew points well into the 60s across the eastern two-thirds of Texas, with dew points approaching 70 on the Gulf Coast, so it's going to feel like spring to summer down there. Lots of fog, probably some showers and mist on Friday into Friday night. And then west of the dry line on Friday, you can see dew points fall into the, well, about 10 to 20 degree range, which for dew points, that's generally the amount of moisture that's quite low. Here are surface temperatures. You can see 60s and 70s west of the dry line, with dew points in the 20s would result in a pretty significant risk of wildfires. You can see this model's depicting winds gusting about 25 to 35 miles an hour combined with humidities, which I'd expect to be below 20% in that scenario. Yeah, there probably would be a pretty good risk for wildfires west of the dry line on Friday, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And please keep in mind, none of what I've just shown you is actually written into stone. We're looking out into model voodoo land. This will all change considerably by the time we actually get to Friday, so keep in mind, on Friday west of the dry line, we could be dealing with wildfire issues across portions of the Trans-Pecos, the borderland, the Permian Basin into West Texas, probably western portions of the Concho Valley and Big Country. A risk of strong thunderstorms Friday night into the morning hours on Saturday along and east of Interstate 35E and Interstate 45. So generally from Gainesville to Dallas to, let's just say Corsicana to Huntsville to Houston and points east, we could see thunderstorms Friday night to Saturday morning. Some of those storms could be strong with a risk of damaging winds and hail. Not really sure on a tornado threat at this point, but assuming the time of night verifies and we end up dealing with a squall line, then yeah, we'd mainly be dealing with a lot of lightning, some heavy rain, some hail, and some gusty winds. So we can deal with specific threats once we're closer, and we'll definitely be talking more about that. But Saturday itself looks like a pretty active day in severe weather land across a good portion of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, western half of Tennessee, western part of Kentucky, southwest Indiana, southern Illinois, and southeast and southern Missouri. Now, just for fun, I'm going to put on the weather radar right now, because you can see some of these areas that are actually in the risk on Saturday for severe storms are actually getting snow right now. So that just shows you how dynamic Mother Nature can be during the winter and spring, where you're getting snow today, Tuesday evening, and 3 to 4 days later you have the possibility of dealing with severe weather. And those folks up there could be dealing with some brief tornadoes embedded in the squall line. So with that said, we'll take one final look at the thunderstorms over northeast Texas this evening. And you can see some of these storms are capable of producing lots of small hail and localized gusty winds, a lot of lightning, and brief heavy rain. They're booking it northeast at about 60 miles an hour, so they will not stick around long. And otherwise, we'll just be having to deal with freezing drizzle overnight into the morning hours on Wednesday, with perhaps a little bit of more additional snow accumulation across the Texas Panhandle eastward into Oklahoma. So if you have anybody heading on a trip tonight, let them know that Oklahoma, especially west and north of Oklahoma City, could be dealing with some ice overnight. Same goes for the Texas Panhandle. We're not talking widespread ice, but it definitely doesn't take much black ice at all to cause issues, especially if you hit a bridge. So with that, I'm David Reimer with Texas Storm Chasers. Y'all have a great night. And if you are a Texas Storm Chasers supporter on Facebook, we'll be doing a live stream on there in just a few minutes. So TSC supporters, check back here in a few minutes for the next video.